Hey, I was muted. Hi. Welcome to Woman Chat Wednesday, Level Up Single Mom. That's what happens when you try to be too prepared. Um, my name is Kiana, but I'm more affectionately known as Vitamin Key in the YouTube space. And welcome to Level Up Single Moms Woman Chat Wednesday. Today is a very special every episode is a special episode, but today is our first Birth Your Bag episode. So for anyone who has not been here before, there are 3 focus points of the Level Up Single Mom platform, and those are build your boundaries, refine your shine, and birth your bag. And birth your bag is specifically about finances. It's about how to increase your finances from wherever you are starting. So I'm really excited about tonight's conversation and tonight's guest because I saw her talking on one of my other lives, and she said like she went from welfare to working a 6-figure job and everything. And I was just like, that is exactly what Birth Your Bag is about, just being able to start from wherever you are at any point within it. But she ran like the full gamut. So I just really knew I needed to talk to her. So I'm going to go ahead and do the intro, and then I'll come back and give a little bit of background on our guest. It worked. I'm so excited. It's the first time it just went straight through. Y'all even know I've been going through it. Okay, so about our guest. Her name is Annika Miles. She is a single mother of twins who are turning 30 next week. She went from being on welfare, eating from food pantries, WIC, and food stamps, and living in Arizona Section 8 housing with 2 children, to putting herself through school and starting a career in fashion. She says that she had lost her job when her company hit hard times, and she decided to take a leap of faith, sold everything she owned, moved across country for an entry-level job here in Pennsylvania where I live. She says she was homeless and living in her car for 4 months while she saved enough to get an apartment. Being so poor during this time because she made too much money to qualify for any assistance, but not making enough money to, fully survive in a comfortable way. They were struggling, and she considered quitting her job more than once to go back to welfare. And when I say that is something that is close to my heart, they had no furniture except a mattress a coworker gave her and a love seat and coffee table she got from Goodwill. After living expenses and childcare were paid, she would have about $40 left to buy grocery and food for herself. Well, for the kids' lunches that would have to stretch for 2 weeks. I know them. Child, you speaking my language. She would have about $40 left to buy groceries and food for the kids' lunches and would have to stretch for 2 weeks to accomplish this. She ate vegetarian and would literally count slices of bread in my oh my God. So much I relate to in this, to ensure that there was enough for 2 sandwiches for 10 days and a pre-portioned out family-sized bag of chips and jumbo cans of fruit. She saw the only way out of that life, if she didn't go back to welfare, was to move up in her field. So she leaned in, built a reputation of excellence through hard work and dedication. But although she says she does not fully recommend doing this, and made bold moves, jumping companies to earn major raises and position herself to earn more. She's lived all over the country, including the suburbs of Minneapolis, Minnesota, during the height of the BLM protests. And now she's in California, having a high-earning 6-figure salary. She's taken her family and friends on amazing international vacations, weathered Bush's recession and COVID without any issues, and is working on the next phase of her journey as an entrepreneur to have even more financial freedom. Woo! My Lord. Okay, so I don't know if that doesn't get y'all going, get y'all ready. I don't know, sis. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on Miss Annika Miles. Hi,
Annika. Hi. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. It's perfect.
Okay. We were having technical difficulties, so I ended up just doing this on my phone.
Listen, I know this is going to be a good one because my intro came in smooth today for the first time.
Okay. Yes.
So
Yes.
I think we're going to be doing okay. I think we're going to make it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Mike, perfect. That's good. Because we were like in shambles over here, girl. Just tatters. I don't know what was going on. I was like, we're just going to go on my phone. I don't care. I was going to the living room. I was forget it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad
Well, thank
I
you
was
so
able to be
much.
here.
Thank you so much for being willing to come on. When I saw your comment, I was like, this is exactly what I'm talking about, because when I had the clarity to section Level Up Single Mom into these 3 areas, when it came to birth your bag, in my mind, I just was like, everybody's talking about, oh, I'm gonna tell you how to be a millionaire, I'm gonna tell you how to get rich. But I'm like, what about the people that are on welfare and are counting slices of bread, are eating out of food pantries? Like, where is because they'll sit and say, oh, well, you just need to work harder, you just need to save. They'll give you these generalized things. So you having forged that whole entire path from that state of being to the state of being you are in now, I am chomping at the bit. I'm ready. So please just, go tell me, give me what you want to give me.
Well, you read the whole email, girl. So that was basically that was most of like my story. Well, I mean, high level, most of my story. But yeah, I really am a super advocate for welfare reform for that reason, because I feel like there are too many people in between qualifying for assistance and working poor. So it almost is like a trap to set you up to stay poor. And I really am like, we really have to work to be like financially literate and just focus on getting ourselves out of these terrible situations that are super easy to get stuck in and stay in for a long time.
Okay. Thank you. Now, when I was reading your bio, one of the things that stuck out to me was that I get the impression like you understood where you were, and then it sounds like you made decisions like every step of the way. It wasn't like, oh, I don't know, I just fell into this. You literally had to like decide and then move forward. Would you say that was it easy for you to conceptualize that these decisions you were making were in your grasp, or did you like have to build yourself up to believe or even perceive that you could accomplish those goals?
So right after, I'm super transparent about that. I had really terrible postpartum after I had my children. And it took like a family friend to help me get out of that place. And a lot of that was just from feeling the need to be perfect, and you know what I mean? Like I'm like by myself. My children's father has never even seen them like in person. Like he's never been there. So I was doing it all, and I am like very much like a type A personality. So you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, well, I have to be able to do this and I have to be able to do this. And I ended up being put on bed rest because I had got into a car accident midway through my pregnancy. So I couldn't work anymore. And it was just like all downhill. Like everything that possibly could have gone wrong did. Thankfully, up until the pregnancy, everything was okay. Both the pregnancy and my children are healthy and fine. So that was really good. But yeah, it's really easy to get in the mindset that it takes you don't have what it takes to do it, or to be overly confident and set yourself up to fail because you didn't plan well enough ahead of time. So every decision I've made has been like a pro and con list. Like I'm that kind of person that gets out the paper and like, let's look at all the things that could go wrong here, and I anticipated it being very difficult, but I knew that if I planned like as much as I possibly could, then anything that comes in like left field, I would be able to navigate okay. So
I like the fact that you said plan, because I know for me, I like a plan, but sometimes it's hard to in my mind, because like I said, when you are trying to go someplace, I always say I'm trying to do things that no one around me has done, and I'm trying to just kind of feel my way to it. So being that you were in a space that seemed very limited, or would seem very limited, and you were aiming for things that I'm thinking I'm hearing that you didn't necessarily have access to.
No,
Did you
for real, I did
you
not
was
know.
winging it. You just let God lead you, right? Jesus took the
Right. To an extent, but I
yeah.
felt like things were happening. So when I got my first real like job that set me up for the career I'm in currently in fashion,
Mhm.
I literally was working at a call center, just trying to make ends meet. I was still in school at the time, and I was actually in school for biochemistry. I was actually a biochem major.
Wow.
And then yeah, and I was working in a call center for a mail order catalog company.
Mhm.
And how call centers sometimes they'll have a billboard where they'll just
Mhm.
post like intra office job listings. And
Mhm.
there was a posting for an assistant technical designer, and it started at like 30K or something like that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much money, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, that's amazing, because I was making like,
Yeah.
I don't
When
know,
you coming from
$10 an hour.
17, when you're coming from 22,000, like it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Like, I was like, what? So, and I knew how to sew. My mother, I had learned how to sew and like pattern making from like my mother, and she has
Okay.
been in fashion. She went to FIT. She had her own like company. She was doing a lot. So I learned all of that for her, and I had already been sewing like most of my life anyway. So, I had been taking fashion classes as electives.
Mhm.
So it just kind of worked out. I took my portfolio in, and they hired me, and I was just like, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, that's right.
Yes.
I'll make it 33K.
I've
Like,
arrived.
right. Like, I'm doing everything. I'm doing that is job. And, it would be very easy to um, just earn that amount of money and then be happy based off of like where you came from.
Mhm.
But I feel like and I think most Black women are like this, I'm just gonna be real, it like after you have like a taste of that, like you realize you can
Mhm.
get to that place, then you're like, what
Yes.
more could I do? Like, how much higher can I go?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I was working at that company for like 5 years or so, and then uh, the recession started hitting, and they closed. I actually was able to, I had put so much of myself, because I was like, I want to learn everything. I want to learn everything. I need to make myself indispensable so I do not lose this job, because I really love like not making $10 an hour. so
Right.
so it got to the point where they were just huge layoffs, like mass layoffs. And because I had positioned myself to learn so much product, they had gone from a team, I think of like 12, like 10 or 12 people, to a team of 2. And it was just me and one other girl. And we split the workload, and we were just like, going in. Like, so having taken the initiative to be somebody that was like someone everyone could depend on, someone that was going to take the time to learn the product and learn how to do the processes and be quick and nimble and,
Mhm.
accommodating, even when sometimes it was really painful to do that, set me up so that I could stay with that company. But then when they finally shuttered, I was looking around, because I was in Arizona at the time, and I was like, there's just not anything I can do here with where I am now. Like, my industry just is not here. So my options were to go back to school and course correct, like jump into a different field, maybe work in another call center again, just basically drop back down.
And that's
Or
painful, isn't it?
I was like, oh, I can't do it. I can't
Yeah.
do it. So, so that's when I started looking at, I was like, okay, where are the jobs then? and really they're on the coasts, you know, like East Coast, West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And the company, because I had a reputation at the company I was at, people that had moved to the East Coast, there was a vice president actually that knew me, and when I applied, she was like, yes, you know, come, we'll help. You know, it's an entry level position, so we can't help you relocate really, but I'll hire you. Like, if you come, we'll get you working. So I just took the leap of faith, and I was like, I literally sold everything in my apartment. This Russian woman came through. I don't know if she was working with like sheltered women or something like that. And she just was like, you know, what are you selling? Because I had listed everything on Craigslist, and she was just like walking through, like, I want this. What about these pictures on the wall? Are these pictures for sale? I was like, sure. Girl, she bought the dishes out my dishwasher, child. She bought everything. She bought like my towels out the towel closet.
My God. I am loving these stories of alignment.
Like, literally. She got these. I couldn't get the couch out of the apartment, so she got these two dudes to come, and they picked it up and took it over the balcony. Girl, they took everything. They bought everything. So yeah, it was crazy, and it just worked out. And I ended up having about $3,000, so I could ship my car, buy a plane ticket, and pay my parents to watch my kids for 6 months while I like got myself. And I figured, you know, I'm gonna have to. So that's when I was homeless. I was living in my car for about 4 months.
If the kids were, I saw you said that, but you didn't, you know, discuss it. But
yes.
Okay. I mean, you do what you got to do, but
right.
I get it.
And you know what I mean? And I wasn't aware that on the East Coast, you basically need first month, last month, and 1 month of rent to get an apartment. So I was absolutely not prepared, because in Arizona, you just, you know, you can get an apartment with like $500 security deposit. You know what I mean?
Mind you, you're speaking to someone. I live in Philadelphia, but my mind has been trying to like. I feel like I need to get out of here. I'm just like
that's where I was. That's where I was. I went to Philly. Like, I went to. I was actually, my company was in Bensalem, so I was. Yeah. So I was living. So I was just, you know, I got a gym membership so I could shower at the gym, and one of my coworkers actually from my previous company had ended up coming to that company as well, and I told her about my situation, and she's like, just come stay on my couch, girl, even if you have to just live in my spare bedroom until you can get the rest of the money together, that's fine. So I was, thank God I was out of the car, girl, because there was snow on the ground. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I distinctly remember a night where it was like freezing cold, and I had the engine running, and I just had to keep turning the car on and off, because I was like, I don't want to like die of carbon monoxide. Right. But at the same time, I'm like very cold. So, you know, things like that, where, you know, I just like layered everything on me, and just like, so yeah. And just eating like raw, you know, cup noodles with like hot water from the office, and like just stay at the office as long as possible, which kind of helped me like with my work, because I was getting so much work done.
Like, she's so dedicated. Look at
amazing. I'm like, I'm homeless. But yeah, so yeah, but it ended up working out, and I got my kids after the 6 months, and we were in an apartment. Now, you know, because of what I was earning there, I was still it was basically still like about $30K, you know what I mean? Like, it was very like it was still entry level, but so I wasn't able to really like, I didn't have much. Like, we literally had a love seat that I got from Goodwill, and one of my coworkers gave me a mattress. So we were just getting by paycheck to paycheck. I didn't qualify for any assistance. I didn't qualify for childcare assistance. I didn't qualify for, the kids didn't even get reduced lunch. It was crazy. Like, I was like, I thought there would be at least like a sliding scale with like.
No, it's really, and I'm someone who, you know, most of my oldest daughter's life was on welfare. it is a weird experience because you figure, oh, they're here to help, but it's like,
right.
Oh, you're making this much, we're going to cut everything off. And it's like, this is still just enough to pay my bills. Like, how am I
Barely.
supposed to eat? Oh, we'll give you
Literally.
this $17. You know, it's just like, it's not designed for you to thrive.
At all. Or even like get off of it in a way that is painless. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's not set up for a transition. It's like
nope.
you have to go from being poor to being, ridiculously filthy rich.
Right.
In order
Exactly.
to not be like floundering.
Completely unrealistic. Yeah. So dealing with that was like just, at that point you're just surviving, you know what I mean? Like, and I remember though, like once we got was it Toys for Tots showed up at our house once, and then there was like a food box that showed up at our house. And while I was like thankful, I was also very proud. And that's something that I feel like can be a real problem for us sometimes. And that's under one of my tips is like, make sure you're asking for help, because like pride comes before the fall. You know what I mean? Like you really, if you need help, you need to be asking for help. Like, don't be afraid to, don't be, like, because at that time I was like, I'm finally off of this. And I don't know why I didn't connect like welfare with being help, because I was like, well, I want some help, assistance.
You know why? Because it is drilled into us as a society, I think, but especially as single mothers. I remember when I went, because when I got pregnant with my daughter, I was in my first semester of college, of my only year of college. So I finished out the year, and then I wound up going down south to stay with my mother. And I stayed with her for like a year, and then I came back to Philly. When I came back to Philly, I was just like, I need to be able to contribute something, but I had no work history. I didn't have anything. All I could do really was go to welfare at that time. So I went down to the welfare office, and I remember the lady just being so mean to me. She just was like, well, where are you living?
I'm like, gross.
I'm living with my grandmother. And she's like, well, how are you paying for toiletries? And how, like, she's asking all these questions, which may have been part of the thing, but she was basically saying, and she was like, I said, my grandma gives me money for, she's like, it wouldn't be me. I didn't ask you. And it's not coming out of your pocket. She was just being so nasty, but it's imprinted in us that we should be ashamed.
Right. And it's disgusting because, like, if you think about it, like capitalism is built on little people doing the work. Do you know what I mean? Like these low paying jobs, toiling at the bottom is what makes this society work, like this structure work. So we should respect the people that are making the machine work. You know what I mean? Like if we don't have those people working, flipping the burgers, then we're not going to have a McDonald's. If we don't have the people that are, you know what I mean? So to shame the people that are essential to the machine working, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I'm so like, I just find it just so disgusting that we can create this system that keeps people poor, that incentivizes staying poor, and then we shame those people for being poor. Like it doesn't make sense.
Poor. You don't pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You don't, and then not to mention all the other disadvantages of, race and gender and things like that. And then like if you're dealing with children, trying to set them up for success, trying to keep their heads up and impart positivity and and all of that stuff. It's really diabolical is the word.
It is so messed up. It is so messed up. I'm like, if I didn't have so much dirt in my past, I would have totally run for office. But I'm like, if I could do something to change, I would love to change, like, you know what I mean? Something, because I just think the machine is broken. Like the system is broken. And people deserve dignity that choose, because I mean, even if you choose to be like a janitor or, you know what I mean, somebody that's like, you should be able to work those jobs with dignity and be treated with respect and not feel like you're worthless because you're not earning whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to know, because so you weren't able to get welfare. I want to kind of go into the types of things that you were doing to make the ends meet. Like I saw you saying counting the bread and being
Yes.
just really, do you feel like having to do those things helped you in your rise through like your jobs and your career?
Definitely. So during that time, all I was thinking about was like, how can I get more money? You know what I mean? Like, if I can't make more money, then I need to figure out a way to save money. Do you know, like in my life? And so, we had absolutely no frills. There was no frills in our life at all. Like no cable, no. My phone was like a cricket, pay as you go type phone. Um, my sister actually works for Verizon, so she ended up sending me phones because she's like, I can't do this anymore. Like you're just, so I'll be talking to you and you just drop off. I don't know what happened. So, so was paying for my phone for a while, but like, I really learned like tips and tricks and things like when to watch for Target sales, like when to watch when things go on clearance, when to watch when things are marked down at stores, making sure that you're doing things that, because there are a lot of articles and things about how a poverty scarcity mindset creates more poverty. So like it keeps you there. So if
Yeah.
you think that it's better to pay $1 for a roll of toilet paper than it is to pay $20 for a 40 pack of
36
toilet
rule.
paper.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, no, it makes more sense to spend more money to get the more product than it does to save money in the front end, but not really in the end, like, get the payout for it. Do you know what I mean?
I
So,
love that you said that, because when we're talking about this whole idea of soft life and,
yes, I love a soft
living
lifestyle.
in comfort, living in luxury, which is something, there
Yeah.
is this idea, and I have had to work really, really hard to deprogram myself from this idea that if you're not struggling, you're not being responsible.
Yes.
If you're not
Yes.
hurting, or if you're not on the cross, then you're not doing it right. And
It's
like,
crazy. We
it
are
makes you.
indoctrinated, girl, to feel this way. Like,
Mhm.
I think Black people just in general are like, if you are like, if you're struggling, people are like, oh, that's, they're so noble. It's like almost seen as like
Mhm.
noble and
There's
like honorable.
nobility in it. You are a good
Yes.
mother. You are a good wife.
Self-sacrificing to
Self-sacrifice. You want
to an
nothing.
outrageous
Long
extent.
suffering.
Right. Yeah. They're like, she's amazing. Like she cut off her own arm to barbecue for the children. Like, what is like,
Yes,
no,
and
this
it's
is not
like, if
healthy.
you. But the minute they
No.
see you being like, I want to do this. I'm going to do this, but I'm trying to find a way that it's not going to kill me. And then it's that looking at you like, what do you think you're doing? You know what I mean? Like, I had to
Right.
battle that so much as I
Yes.
was growing up, because I'm looking at, the people around me, my examples, and I'm loving what they're doing for me, but I'm looking at what it's doing to them. And I'm
Yes.
asking
Yes.
myself, is there another way? Like, I would like to try and find another way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
And
then
we live in a
putting
super
that.
consumerist like
Mhm.
country. Like everybody, it's all about like what you have, who you are is based off what you have. You know what I mean? So um I would do things like my children, I say that we always wore like brand name label clothing, but
Okay.
we would get it secondhand, or I would hit like clearance sales where it was like, we were wearing Gap or whatever, but it was like Gap that we
Well,
bought
girl, I
for
used to work
$2
at
on clearance.
Ross. I used to
Yes.
work at Ross. Child living the life.
Yes, yes, yes. Make friends with those people, and you know what I mean,
Mhm.
like the people that work in the retail. Like,
Mhm.
yes, you have, and because that does like harm the psyche of our children. I think when they feel like they look different than their peers, So I really made my business to make sure like my children always looked really great. I think that's something that like we just tend to do as people anyway. Like the kids' hair is always done. The children always wearing like decent clothing. You know what I mean? They're always clean. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like I never feel like I see Black children really, like if you see a Black child that looks like they're not well
you're
cared
just
for,
like,
you're like, what is
neglected.
happening in the home?
Yeah.
Right. Like something must be going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's never just like a regular thing. So I really made it like my business to watch sales, spend frugally, read fine print. The smallest things you can do that can help you. I learned about contract of carriage contracts that airlines have. Everybody should learn about this, because when airlines do things like overbook flights or lose your baggage, you are entitled to money. And people don't realize that. Like if they damage your luggage, you're entitled to money. Right. And they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that. But so like let's say they lose your bag. If I'm going to visit somebody and they lose my bag, I can spend, I believe it's up to like $3,000, depending on your airline, to replace what was missing from my bag. And the airline has to reimburse me for that. So I can go shopping, buy more toiletries, clothing, and the airline will reimburse me for that and still get me my bag. So,
so you get free stuff.
So I've been praying, girl, that they lose my stuff. Don't play with me. I pray that they overbook the flight, because you're paying me out for that. Yeah. So, just, and then if they do overbook a flight, things like they have to pay, like if depending on the amount of time that you're in the airport, they have to pay you for your time there. So it's like there's so many things in the fine print that you can learn and make money off of.
Where do you go to find this information?
So go to, like, if you were to go on to Delta's site, just search contract of carriage, Delta, or you can even put that in like a Google. Yeah, just search that, any airline, and they all have it. They all have to have it. It's they legally have to have this, and they all have different. But make sure that you scroll through it, because a trick that a lot of them do is they'll have an index at the top, but they'll leave out things like lost baggage. So you won't see it, and you'll be like, oh, there's nothing here for lost baggage. But if you scroll down, there is a thing for lost baggage in there. So you just have to like make sure you're looking, because they'll hide stuff so that they don't have to pay you. And the agents are trained to like push back. But if you just like, I have your contract of carriage here and it says this, this, and this in this line, and I know what I'm entitled to, they'll give it to you. So just something to think about.
I'm like, where's my notebook? I should have had
I have tips.
See, I'm gonna come back and watch it. It's recorded.
And one of the things that I love about us is that we really like share. Like I feel like it is so important that we talk about these kind of things. And I love your channel for this reason, because
thank you.
You know what I mean? Like you doing the work, girl. But you know what I mean? Like it really helps. Like the only way people learn these kind of things generally is being in them, like in that situation.
Yes, that's exactly. And that's why when I saw that you said it, because it's like, when I know for me, your story sounds like my story. Now you went a lot farther down a certain avenue, because I've been in that place. I've worked at so many different jobs. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
If any one of them, I would have been like, oh, this is where I want to be. But clearly my calling was this. So I wound up here. But many people I've encountered seem like they give up because they just think this is all there is. And so I wanted a space where people could find it and realize that, oh no, that over there that I really like, that I feel called to, that can be for me as well. And I wanted a place where they can see it working and see it in real time and go, oh no, somebody like me can definitely get there. Somebody like me can definitely that. And I can resonate with that. She said that I went through that too, but she did that a little differently. So I can try that, you know.
Right. Oh, I didn't even know that's something you could do. Let me give that. Like sometimes it just takes seeing somebody else to know that this is possible. Like this is something you can do. So there's so many different things that I'm less like, I could even just send like a list of like, there's, ways that you can get education for free.
Girl.
I think it's called Prescola classes are free classes that go towards your degree. So there are things. There's so many things out here.
You have my email. Send me the link. I will compile. Send me the information. I will make it pretty. That's what I do. I'll put it together and I'll post it somewhere. Hopefully, and everybody, please share this channel. I'm trying to get it up so that I can get a community tab or something, because there's some things that I've been wanting to post and stuff, but I'm not important enough to YouTube yet to do certain things. So I'm asking you guys to just get me to the point where it opens up those things. Oh, and a late congratulations to Miss Deanne, because you just recently got a community tab. I believe I was watching one of your lives. So
I love her. She's so great. Oh my gosh, I love her. She's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh you have no idea. So yes. But I want to be able to have a community tab so we can share these links and things like that, because that is what this is about. That's what this is for. Get this out here for everybody.
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Deanne. So, Miss Deanne, please, I don't know if you want to send me your email and then I'll send it to her. You want to post it in the chat or something, but we want to get her your email so we can get her to give you the information, and then you can post it in your community tab. Oh, but you could go ahead and tell.
Hi. My YouTube screen name is AJM. So people see me. I'm always like commenting on stuff, and like I'm very like in the BWE community. So if you see me, that's who I am.
That's you. Okay. So now I want to get, so we talked about famine. Now I want to talk about the feast.
No,
tell me about that moment when you realized that you were stepping out of one state of being into that new space of I'm financially secure.
This is so good. Oh my gosh, this is so good, because I get chills talking about this kind of stuff, girl, because this is like life changing. Okay, so what it is, I think if you just stay, because I don't think I ever thought I could make the amount of money I make now. I don't ever think I thought that. I just thought, how could I make more?
Okay.
So, and I was like, can I make more? Like anytime I got to the next level, I was like, can I make more? Like, so I had a boss once. I'm a PPL system game. I had a boss once that like, she was mentoring me, and I asked her like, how do I make money? Like, how can I get more money in this industry? Like, because I was looking around and there were people around me that had been working there for like 12, 15 years, and they were still like barely like making anything. Like, because we talk about our salaries on the low, you know what I mean? So she told me, she's like, if you in fashion, if you want to get more, if you want to make more money and jump tiers, you need to jump companies. So with each company you go to, and this is like, insider information, each company you go to, pad your salary was like $15,000.
Oh, so you mean when you're filling out the application?
Yes.
Okay, and just tell them, like, when they ask you how much you're making, you just say, I'm making this. Gotcha.
20K more than you're actually making. And now that will be what they'll write set to, and they will adjust and negotiate with you for around that amount of money. Okay. Because their assumption is that they want to pay you about what you were being paid before, maybe just a little bit more. So that's how I would make huge jumps. Like I remember going to the grocery store. I went to like Walmart or something, and we
Mhm.
just balled out of control, girl. We just got everything. I was like, anything y'all want, get whatever y'all want. And I remember just walking back to my car. Like, it wasn't like a situation where we were deliberately like trying to ball out of control, but I was just one of those things where it's like,
No, you were
let's
just
get
like, I don't have to think about it.
Girl, I went to my car and I got in the car and I started crying because I was like, I did not look at my receipt. I was able to shop without counting out how much money I was spending while I was shopping. And anybody that knows what that's like, where you are accounting for every single penny, the ability to be able to shop, to just buy things that you need and not have to worry if you will have enough money for gas, not have to worry if something will bounce in your account, if you will be declined at the checkout. It is such a freeing and life-changing experience. It is, and some people who haven't don't even understand this, I guess they really can't. Like, it is so dehumanizing having to count out every penny to buy things that are basic human needs, if that makes any sense. Like,
Absolutely. And
like,
then sometimes not have enough for all of it, like having to choose.
I remember I was in line behind a woman who, and this is when we were still poor too, but I was behind a woman in line at the dollar store, and she had things just like, feminine hygiene products, toothpaste, didn't have enough money on her card. And they were like, well, you just,
you have it.
And the card's just not working. Like, it's not running. There's nothing we can do. Like, and she's like, just please run it again. Just like, please. And you could just tell like the desperation in her. And I was like, I know this. I know this feeling. And I paid for her because she left the store because they wouldn't take the car. So I rang it up for her and I ran after her to like give it to her because I was like, you should not be, because she was like crying in the parking lot. It was just like, this is not okay. Like, the way that we're living right now is not okay. And that was like for her, like food. It was like her cash assistance card wasn't working. So it was like, these are basic human needs and they're not being met with the system, the way it's set up currently. And it's not okay. Like, it's really disgusting. You know what I mean? And like, and I just want, if I can give information to anybody so that they can have that experience of, just going to the store and never having to look at your receipt and never having to count out what you're buying. And, then I feel like I've done a service to the world. So
that is my mission. That is my mission, to make sure that people have just awareness that it is possible for you to, don't think that you can't have it, because that was the pit of my despair, was that I had this baby and now I can't have a real, regular human life.
Literally, they tell you everything's over. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're listening to these people out here, these men out here too, talking about like, oh, that's it for you. You're done. Like, out of here. You're 22 and your life's over. Like, what in the world? That is crazy. First of all, do not listen to them. Okay, that's very crazy. You could definitely, your life is not over.
But meanwhile, they're still speaking about mating with you. Oh, you're just good for sex. Who said I want you touching me? Who said I want you touching me? Who said that was an option for you?
Sir, no, just ill. But life is not over. You just have to move differently, and you can still have everything you want, everything you'd wanted before. While I highly do not recommend anybody become a single parent. Like, if you can avoid it, this is why I find so hard for this like Roe v. Wade thing, because I'm like, oh no, child, what we not doing is taking that away from people. Like
No,
we
what I
really
hate
need
is the ones that are talking negatively about single mothers, and they talk about it as if like women are choosing to become single mothers. And when you're
that
talking
part.
in the room, in the
Right.
ears of someone like you or me, it's just like, I was just having
What are you even saying? What are you
I
even
just
saying?
went in to have sex. I understand how babies are made, and I get
Right.
that I could have done some things to prevent the pregnancy, but that was not my intention to become a single mother. Like,
or you're like me and you were on birth control but didn't know that antibiotics can interfere with them. And you get pregnant with twins.
With
two. Yes. So that was a failure on the medical staff.
I was about to say, did you find out about how to sue them?
I know, girl. And, you know, we had no money for no lawyers, girl. We didn't know what he did at it. But yes, like,
you probably could have got a clip,
terrible.
but that's the thing. You don't know. You survive how you survive, and you made the path you were supposed to make, and you are here now, and all praises be to the Most High.
Right. Yes.
You are since we were talking about crusty men, I want to I want to ask you about how it has been. You and me have a similar look to us, and I know, and yes, and round.
Fine. Yes, that's right. Yeah,
but I know what my experience has been. You know, in being out there and not necessarily having a problem getting attention, not necessarily having a problem having people wanting to be in my space.
Yes.
But picking up and noticing that they seem to have an idea about me, you know, based off of maybe how I look or what my life is, or, you know, whatever it is. So what has your experience been, even though you're doing good now, sis, what has your experience been as you have been going through your path with men coming to you?
Yes.
And expecting what they expect from you.
So I have Black children.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, and when I say Black children, my children's father is Black.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for a long time, preferred Black men because we're all conditioned to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to be more open because I was getting a lot of experience. I was having a lot of experiences, dating experiences that were just not positive, just real trash. You know what I mean? Like, just, you know, I'm the one that's the bread earner in the family. You know what I mean? Like in the relationship, like, you know, they're looking for a mom, basically. You know, people where it's like, and I mean, for a while, like I had one ex where, and he was Black, and he was what, because I'm attracted to educated lanes. So he was what one would consider an and that's why I say they're all the same. And don't listen to them out here talking about, you ignoring the educated lanes.
Yeah.
The ones that not
we know, and they know too, but they don't want to believe it.
Nope, that's not true. That's not true. Kids' dad's educated lane too, honey. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. But I was in the mindset, I was like, okay, if I'm going to be the bread earner, you know what I mean? At that time, I think I was making about like $85K. And I was like, if I'm the bread earner, and he was working at like a call center. And I was like, well, you know, it's fine. We can do reverse roles. You know what I mean? Like he can be home with the kids. You know, as long as I come home from work and everything's like food's on the table, laundry's done, house is clean, you know, help, you know, it's fine. But I don't think men can operate under that. Like, I just don't think, like, I'm sure there are men that are, I don't want to say all men, because I'm sure there are men who are like really nurturers by nature. But he couldn't even, girl, I was like, all you have to pay for is like the electric bill. And he couldn't even do that. Like he just would play video games all day. And, you know, and it was just always kind of like it's the same thing with all of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I ended up having to put him out, and I was like, you know, I was paying all the bills anyway. It's like, I'm like, losing you is not going to cost me anything.
Like I'm not, there's no benefit to having you here. I don't know why they seem to think, no, I won't say I don't know why they seem to think. They all, because even if a dude doesn't necessarily value a woman, they always seem to want to have one.
Yes.
And so I think that in their mind, they think that women are the same way. And some women are, but people who are like, you know, how you seem to be, and very kind of analytical and going, okay, everything here has a purpose. What's your purpose? And you're not doing anything. It's just like, well, I can move easier
without you,
swifter and more fluid without you.
I could do better. I could do bad all by myself. You know what I mean? Like, and it got to the point, like, even when we were going to get an apartment together, we were almost rejected from an apartment because of him. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like where it's like, what? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you're actually detrimental to me at this point. Like, you're actually
you're dragging me down.
Yes. So, but, you know, you're in a relationship and they want 50-50 still. So you're giving them 50-50, but you're giving 100 really. Do you know what I mean? Like it's more like 150. So,
125.
Right. So I made it my business to say, you know what, I'm not going to date down anymore. I'm going to, if I'm going to date at all, it's going to be somebody who is, you know, a professional, who is at least earning as much money as I am, and somebody who just has their head on straight. Like, I don't have the energy anymore to like raise people. You know what I mean? Like, I've raised my own children. I don't know how to raise my man too. Like, that's crazy. So and it has actually been really great. Like, I don't know why they're saying that as a single mother you can't get somebody that makes it. That is a lie. That is very much a lie. I'm with somebody right now who works in law, and he earns a very nice salary, and I am a fat Black woman who's in her 40s with a single mother. I mean, I don't know what lies. It's lies. Okay, but one thing you do have to do, though.
Don't, like we were talking about before with the money thing, it's like, if you haven't seen it, and all those messages and everything that you can't have certain things, you're not worth certain things and stuff like that, they depend on that. Yeah, because if you're not if you don't believe, anybody who knows that they can do better is not going to settle. Just like they're always saying, you have options. So anyone who knows that they have options is going to opt for the better thing. And so,
baby, the devil is a liar. The devil is about all this stuff that you
can't have. My thing is, and I've always said, because I was talking to somebody about, you know, this type of situation, and they were just like, well, you know, why they shouldn't be. It's always, well, you shouldn't even be trying to do that because you can't have it. If you aren't concerned, if you're not coming after me, if you're not trying to be with me, it's none of your business what I'm aspiring to.
Right.
It's none of your business what I'm aspiring to.
When I tell you, when you set up a dating app, first of all, when you go into a dating, let me give you some tips. If you're a single mom dating, pay for a dating app. Okay, go on Match and pay for a subscription. Don't go to the free sites. Don't just pay for. If you're serious about dating, then this is money well spent.
The free sites are cesspools.
Cesspools, child. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Go pay for the membership for like 6 months or whatever, and then just watch. You will be shocked. Make sure you get somebody, take some good pictures, put some good pictures up there. Be very honest about what you're looking for in your profile, and you will be shocked. Girl, I would have like 500 messages in my inbox, child. You are not going to be alone. I will tell you. And I am dark skinned. I am, you know, I'm a tall woman. I am overweight. Like I'm 5'10". So I'm not like small, like a tiny person. I am overweight. You know, I weigh a lot. I'm not like.
Is your fiance tall?
No, he's actually not. He's like,
you know why I asked? Because I saw him on and you can't see his height, but I'm like, he doesn't look tall.
No. Right. He is not. He's not tall. He's not tall. He's not tall. But he is like everything that I wanted. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna date somebody that's like different, you know, like I'm gonna give it a try. Cause you know, like I feel like as a tall woman, I am entitled to ask for tall people.
You are.
You know what I mean?
As a mid-sized woman, like as a an average height woman, I'm 5'6". So
Yes.
I always felt like you would see the tallest men with the tiniest women, and I'm just like, and then so you have the short men complaining.
Right.
You got, the tall, they don't want the tall women, so the tall women are kind of complaining. And then, but us in the middle too, it's just kind of like, what do we do?
Yeah. So everybody is like, generally I do date men that are taller than me, but I moved to the Bay Area. I'm in California now, and I was like, let me just open up my options, because the men the quality of men I was getting, I was like, ooh, child, no. So I was like, let me just open up my options to like people, to like just see what happens. And this wonderful gentleman contacted me and like came hard at a girl, so whatever. Right. But yes. So he's small, he is shorter than me, but I mean, like, in the end, does it matter? It doesn't really matter if you have like a quality like, would I rather have somebody who's tall and is crappy? You know what I mean? That's like,
I've been there. It's the people that look so good on paper, and you get so caught up in it because you're like, this is the perfect thing for me.
Well,
they
don't even look good on paper. They just look good. They don't, but they don't have any of the other boxes. None of the other boxes are checked. They don't have any values. They don't have a good job. They don't have nothing.
I dealt with my last situationship type of thing. Mind you, it was on and off for 10, not on it. It wasn't even on until like 2018, but he was like pursuing me for like 10 years, and we would go out here and there, and I just was like, I'm not feeling it. And then finally I started feeling it in 2018 for whatever reason. But he was good on paper. He had a good bank account, you know what I mean? He was debonair in my eyes. He was kind of what am I trying to say? A nice temperament, we looked good together. He's taller than me. I felt like a dainty lady. You know what I mean? It was everything I wanted. But then when you actually start getting functional alcoholic, emotionally unavailable, all types of things.
Can't do it. Like, it's always something like that, like,
it's always something like that, like great on paper.
By the way, I do crack on the weekends. It's like, what? Like, what are you even? Absolutely not. No. So yeah. But yeah. So
I like that for you. It's giving Tom Holland and Zendaya.
Yes.
So
I'm like, if Zendaya can do it, if it's good enough for Zendaya, it's good enough for all of us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, so that child is good.
Where do you? Oh no, you said you were finding them on the boards. What would be we're talking, I want to talk to the struggling single mom who is on welfare right now, who is just like stumbles across this this broadcast for whatever reason, I hope. And what would you tell her to do tonight?
Decide what kind of life she wants. Because I think that's the first step. If you're happy where you are, then I don't think there's anything that says you have to change, if that makes any sense. If you are, working a job that you love, you just happen to not be making enough money, and you're struggling because of that, then maybe you should consider looking for another position, doing the same thing you're doing, but like that could pay more. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe try to see if you can get a raise or move to another company to get more money. But there's nothing that says like, I guess the point is that if you feel you're struggling and you're unhappy with your life, then you need to start thinking about what life you want. So with my children, when we're little, our parents are like, oh, go to college. What do you want to be when you grow up? And you're like, oh, I want to be a painter or whatever. With my children, I said, what kind of life do you want? Because based on the kind of life you want to have, like, picture your life, picture your perfect life. Like, what does your car look like? What does your house look like? what kind of city, where do you live? Is it in the city? Is it in a farmhouse out in the country somewhere? Is it on a beach? Is it, you know what I mean? Like really, really think about your life. Like, what do you do on the weekends? What are some fun things you like to do? Like, do you travel? Do you, based off of that vision, that'll tell you how much money you need to earn. And based off of how much money you need to earn is you need to be looking at the kind of jobs that will pay you to have that lifestyle. So if you have a very simple vision of what you want for yourself, you don't actually need to do very much. Do you know what I mean? Like you really just, you just might need to maybe pick up a second job or something to like get extra money during like the holidays or, cause girl, I love a seasonal job. Don't play with me. I'll work a seasonal job right now. Don't play with me. But yes, but sometimes
see, because you are at the point where now you can just be like, oh, I just go to work to get a little change. I work this job because I get the discount.
Right. I mean, like, why wouldn't I do that? Yes. Yes, I'm not about that. So, but if you are somebody that's looking for like profound change in your life, then you have to make profound changes. If that makes sense. Like
that makes absolute sense. And please ignore, I'm trying to find, because what I'm going to do since the conversation went this way, I actually have a playlist for people who, like I said, that mother on welfare right now, and it has some old lives when I was struggling on like Facebook and Instagram. I'm still struggling right now, but before I had a little bit of visibility, I did some lives and I put them together as a birth your bag first level package. And in this, I talk about your resume, how to stack your resume. After you've done that visualization, you talk about how to stack your resume so that you look attractive to the job that you have decided you want. I talk about how to utilize your 401ks, because I was somebody that was just like, oh no, I need all my money.
So huge.
I need all my money. And then I started working for a company when I, got myself out of retail and into working from home and like doubling my salary and stuff. That's when I was like, oh, this is what a 401k is. And so I put together a thing that explains what a 401k is and how to use it. And then I also did one about, I think I did one about like how to get a better job, where that thing you said about like upping, I didn't say that. And that's a good tip to have, but I was talking about like how to interview and what to go for and things like that. So I'm looking for that right now. So you can keep talking, but I'm looking for that to put the link in.
Okay, yeah. So when it comes to like finding a job, so so after you've done the visualization, you also need to think about how can you add value. So when I love watching people who are like wealthy and like their tips. So like I remember, I think it was Warren Buffett was the one that said like, if you can add value to people's lives, you'll never be poor. So the way to figure out what are you good at? Like, what are some ways that you could, bring in more money? If you want to change careers, what are the kind of careers you're interested in going into? Like, what are some, there are lots of ways to bring revenue into your life. When I was super poor going to school, I was working part-time and I was doing hair on the weekends. So, I was braiding hair. Girl, I was hooking the people up.
Girl, hustlers do hair. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. So if you ever did hair, I know you're a hustler.
Hustler, girl. Braiding hair out my house. Okay. You need a press. What you need, I got you. So, anything you could do to add value in some way to people's lives will earn you money. So, I have friends who've done like side house cleaning jobs where they'll just, go to people's homes and clean for an hour and they get paid like $200 or whatever for the week, or, for every 2 weeks for them to come. And there's just lots of ways to earn money. So it just depends on like what kind of life again that you're wanting. So if you want like major changes, then you have to consider maybe going back to school. And there are tons of programs out here to help you financially do that. You just need to have the wherewithal to get through it. You know what I mean? Like, I highly recommend, if you are somebody that works at a company that provides financial assistance for school, take advantage of that. My sister just got her master's and her company paid for all of it. So take advantage if you can get into, or even just like, if you're working a job where you're making like $10 an hour or whatever, 15 an hour, look for companies that do. Like, I think Starbucks does, Verizon
Don't just go in with
does.
the mindset of how much are they paying. Go in and look at the benefits. Go in and look at the perks. Go in and look at the pipeline of how they promote and invest.
And UPS does it. So if you're already you're already working at a company that doesn't pay you very much anyway, what would it hurt you to switch to a company and make the same amount of money doing something different, but with a company that's going to pay you to go to school? Do you know what I mean?
And did anybody, because I don't see it on this end, but I used my phone to put the link. Did you see that link I put in the chat a minute ago? Anybody, let me know in the comments. You can't see you can't see the thing. Yeah, continue. No,
it's fine. But yeah, so like, if you are at a company that you don't really care about, then just switch to a company that will pay for your school. There's no point in working at a job that's like dead end, that doesn't give you anything. Like, at least if you're working this kind of a job and you're going to have to be struggling anyway, you might as well be getting some benefit out of it and moving towards something better. So just doing things like that, like, it's just like small changes that can be huge and give like major returns to your life. So moving up within your company by looking at job boards, seeing who's hiring. If you've got a good reputation at your company, and quite as this gets, if you have a good reputation at your company and you aren't fully qualified for the position you're applying for, but it's like an entry-level position, they might still hire you. People don't want it. They don't usually, apply because they're like, oh, I need to have like,
because they know you. They already know how you work. They know you have the capacity to do whatever.
Right. Yes. So they might hire you. It's worth applying. Like, I always have the mindset that it's better to try and them tell you no than to not try at all. At least if they tell you no, you're right back to where you would have been anyway. So, you know what I mean? Like, you haven't lost anything. So at least it's worth it to try. It doesn't hurt you in any way to apply and try for these other positions and see what you can get. Because you might be surprised, like, what you might get out of it. It could be pretty great.
Absolutely. That sounds like something similar. Like I said, it's so funny when we talk about alignment and everything. Like I say, when I say that this one is aligned, like they all are, but because these are the things that you're saying, that lets me know that I was speaking truth. You know what I mean? Because those were the things that I noticed and I picked up, and I was just like, well, these are the things that you can do. Because like I said, the true purpose of this is to help people. I think it was True Mystique earlier in the chat has said visualization, and it's hard to visualize things you've never seen.
It's so true. It's
when you give people that feeling, oh, well, it looks like this and it feels like this, sometimes you need to just give them the feeling of it instead of what it looks like. Because sometimes the feeling is the same way, it resonates the same way, but it may look different to somebody else.
Yes.
So that's what I'm like, I really like diving into asking, how did it feel? What was that like? How, what did you notice? Those types of things, because those are the things we need to be able to visualize in the first place.
Yes. And I will say that it's going to take a while to transition out of, like, if you're in a poverty mindset, it takes a while to transition out of it. Like, you're going to have to push yourself into uncomfortable places. Like, you might have to be in rooms you're uncomfortable with being in, with people you're uncomfortable with being around. You just have to, push yourself to get comfortable. And you know what I mean? Like,
and you may find that people that, you love dearly and that love you dearly may, inadvertently make it kind of hard for you. And you have to
talk about that.
Willing, and
we have to talk about that.
Like, to just say, look, what she say? I gotta choose me, Lucius. I gotta choose,
Yes.
They will make you,
Yes.
but it can make you feel, because that's
Mm-hmm.
all you know. It makes you doubt yourself. Like you have this calling that's coming from inside of you that's pulling, like Moana, and it's called, the sea is calling you, but you got your dad saying, no, we need to stay here. This is what we do. This is what family means. This is what motherhood means. This is what, being a good person means. And you're like, well, I want to be a good person, but I still feel this.
Yes. So this is such a good thing to talk about too, because okay, so right now I earn more than both of my parents combined. Actually, I earn more than my dad, my mom, and my stepmother combined. So to contextualize that, if you are taking advice from people who are not in a place where you want to be, then their advice might not be the best advice. If that makes any sense. You can't take everyone with you. You have to sometimes just move in silence. I'm like, real G's move in silence like lasagna, baby. Like you just have to just quietly just like, do you. People are everybody was trying to talk me out of moving across the country. And if I hadn't, you know what I mean? If I had just listened to them, I'd still be working at like a call center. You know what I mean? Like, and not that that's necessarily bad, but this is not what I wanted for myself. So, and sometimes people when they're stuck in their ways, they're not able to see a bigger picture. So they really think they're helping you. They actually really genuinely believe that they're giving you good advice. They're like, don't bother going to school. Why spend the money on that? Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you try to start your own business? Like, nobody's
from your perspective that you're sitting in looks like it is the smart or the safe or the reasonable or responsible thing to do. But like I said, if you are trying to put yourself somewhere outside of your paradigm, it may look a little crazy from there.
You're going to have to do some crazy stuff. Yeah, those people are going to look at you and they'll be like, girl, you insane. Why would you do this? Like, why would you even want to do this? Like, this is so crazy. Just stay where you are. It's not a big deal. Like, why wouldn't you just say, like, no, you have to.
We're normal everyday people. I used to always say, I'm not a Kardashian. Like, that was something that I would say to myself. Like, I'm not a Kardashian.
But it's like, why aren't you a Kardashian? Do you know what I mean?
This is too extravagant for me. Like, this was when I was in my fuddy-duddy stage. And just like, I'm not gonna, I don't have to dress cute. Nobody's checking for me. Like.
And it's like, why aren't you? You can be a Kardashian. Why? Who says you can't be a Kardashian? Who says you can't be a... Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just about your own mind. And sometimes that's all it is. It's just your own mindset. Just changing the way you're thinking is what changes your entire life. There's really not any other, you know what I mean? Like, you're in control. Just for the most part. I mean, of course, things happen in life and we sometimes just don't, there's no, unforeseen circumstances. But for the most part, you're in control. And as long as you operate and like move with that in mind, that you're in control, if you don't want something, then you don't have to have that thing. Like if you are unhappy, you can change your life. You can change your circumstances. And, there's no reason. So yeah, like my parents didn't teach me about credit. Like I didn't know about credit. So I talked about in my letter to you how my credit was garbage when I was coming up. Like I had like a very low 5. I think what it was. 520 or something like that. Like my credit score was like outrageous. Like it was like a 4 something or something like that. It was just crazy. And I just didn't understand. I was like, how do people get a good credit score? Like, and so I was like, you know what? I'm going to change my credit. Like, I don't want to have bad credit anymore. Like, I'm going to learn how credit works, and so that I can use it to help me, because I'm like, if I could have a credit card right now, that would change my life. Like, if I could do, you know what I mean? Like, if I could learn how to use this, if I had a good credit score, then I could get financing and I could have got furniture, or I could have, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things in my mind that were like, if I could do this, if I had better credit, I could have got a better apartment. So,
it's holding
or
you
pay
back.
less. Right. Or pay less for my deposit because you have good credit. Like a lot of times your deposit for your apartment is based off of what your credit score is. So, I was like, how do I do that? So I just dived in. I learned everything I could possibly learn about fixing credit and how the credit works. And it changed my life. Like if you don't do anything else, fix your credit, child. If you can't do anything else, fix your credit, okay? Because
First of all,
now I am an excellent.
You start feeling like you're that girl because you're like, oh, I have good credit.
You can't tell me nothing, okay? You can't tell me nothing. All right, I have good credit.
Not a lot of people do.
Run it. You know what I mean? Like that's how I'm just like. Yes.
I remember.
Oh, you say I get a discount for this if I have good credit? Great. I'm gonna appreciate that discount because I know I have good credit.
The beginning of 2021, like the end of 2020, the beginning of 2021, I was like, because I stay in the house with my grandma, and I was like, I'm ready to move out now. I'm ready to move out, and I went to this lady that my girlfriend had referred me to, and I gave her my information, and I'm looking for an apartment. I'm looking like for somewhere to rent or something. And she's like, you could buy a house. And I'm like, huh? So she's like, girl, people be coming to me trying to buy a house, and they're like 2 years away from being ready. You're ready.
You're ready right now. You're like, what?
Yes,
but you don't even think about those things. If you're like,
this whole, because I had been building my credit, like, the stuff you're talking about, there were certain things that I was like, okay, I need to do this. And like, I started making friends and connections that these were the things that they were into. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to hone this skill. And this is a good thing to have. And I've always had a reputation of being good with money. Like I'm the person that is stretching their income tax check till maybe like right before the next income. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just balling out. I always was like, okay, this is stuff I need to do. And so I had been accumulating this kind of information, just, alignment. And I had the credit, but I still wasn't seeing myself as being ready. And she's like, oh no, you're ready. And I was under contract for a house, and I have a stupid Target card that I had went to try to set up automatic payments to the card, but I didn't find how to do it, and I kind of left it alone because I barely used it. $5, they dropped my limit $500. I was behind just $5. They dropped my limit $500. So I was under contract.
They don't play.
Yeah, and I couldn't get the house.
That sucks. That sucks. That's the one thing that really does.
You know what? I'm fine here. I'm fine. Maybe I wasn't meant to have it. And the thing is, I wasn't. Because if I had got that house, I would have been so inundated with trying to maintain that I wouldn't have been doing the stuff that led me to being able to do this.
Right. Thank God for unanswered prayers. Sometimes you just have to be okay with it. Yes. I don't own a home yet. I'm kind of waiting for the next recession. So because that's when home price is gonna plummet. Yes, I can't wait, honey. But the way what I recommend doing, like if you I have a ton of tips for like fixing your credit, because I've helped several people fix their credit as well.
Oh no, I'm back now because I did other things. Like I went back in and checked my score, and I saw some things like inquiries and stuff like that. I sent the letters, I did all of that. So I'm pretty much back to where I was.
Yes.
I'm just kind of like now I'm working on building my business credit for my
LLC. Yes. So. Okay. So a tip I have for anybody out there that has trouble with missed payments is to open several bank accounts. Now, there is no limit to how many bank accounts you can open. People are unaware of this, apparently. I didn't even know myself. You can open as many as you want to. There's no limit. You can have a bank account with every bank that's in existence. And I recommend opening an account with a bank that gives you money for opening an account. So several banks usually will have deals where it's like $200 free if you open a checking account with us. So all you have to do is have the account for at least I think 3 months or something, and show that you've made 6 transactions in it, and they give you $200. You have $200 for free. So open a bank account that is specific. I have bank accounts for everything, child. I have a bank account for like vacations. I have a bank account.
That's what I hear. So that's what I need to do, because I have 2 bank accounts. Well, I have multiple bank accounts for different things. Like I have bank accounts for my children. That money comes out of my stuff and goes directly to them. I have my bank account, I have a savings, and I have the business account, and the business savings, and I have another savings at the credit union just to be in with them. And it's just
smart. Yes, definitely get credit union. But like open an account that's just, so I opened an account to make sure I corrected all my missed payments. I opened an account for specifically for just installation payments or payments for anything that was a fixed fee. So if like when it comes to like Netflix, Hulu, like all those little things that pull from your account and potentially could bounce your account.
Something that is a good idea, because sometimes when you have other stuff going on, if you just know, okay, I have that, and then you can see what you have to work with.
You literally, I know that with this account, all I have to do is put $240 in this account every month. And if I wanted to, I could add up how much it is for a year. Because what you do is you take all those little accounts that direct draft, set them up to directly draft, set up your loans that you have and install like a set fixed payment that you have to pay, set that up to draft directly from this account. Your car note, set it up to draft directly from this account. And then all you have to do is at the beginning of the month, when you get paid or whatever, you drop in the amount that you need to drop in. So you add up the amount of all those little accounts and you say, okay, I know I have to put $312 in this account every month by the 1st. As long as I put it in there by, or the 5th or whatever, as long as I put that money in there, I don't have to think about the account. The things will automatically draft whenever they're supposed to draft during the month. And you don't have to think about it. It won't potentially bounce your accounts, your personal like checking account. So that eliminates that. So that's no more paying those $35 overdraft fees. And then it ensures that you are always paying your bills on time. So anything that is going to specifically I've done it where I got my my income tax return and I've added up how much I would have to put in this account for it to draft for a year, and I just dropped that amount in there, and I never have to worry about that account.
Next year.
Set up an alarm for the beginning of the first
I don't have to worry, because I like stuff like
you don't have to think about anything else.
I like set it and forget it type stuff. Like,
set it,
and I was always the person like, I'm paying my bills first. Like, I'm paying my bills first.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about. I remember when I had this apartment and like I got my income tax and I was like, here's like 6 months. You know what? Because I was just like, I don't want to have to worry about. That was when I was doing hair, trying the money. I used to just have money just laying around the house. I would say hair salon and I would get tips and stuff.
I would say though, to fix your credit, like if you're somebody that's living like pay Peter, steal from Peter, pay Paul type situation, make sure you're only paying the accounts that report to crediting agencies first. Those are the priority accounts. Everything else, you can just pay it whenever you get a chance to pay it. You know what I mean? Like real talk. You know what I mean? Like you don't talk to Experian. Okay, well then I don't have anything to tell you right now. Like I don't know. I don't got it. I ain't got it.
You mentioned Experian. I'm telling y'all watch that that link I put in, and I'm gonna put it in again, because there is some information. The other thing was credit. So I did how to get a better job. What 401ks are and stuff, and credit.
Yes. Credit is
huge. Like those
change
are
your
some
life.
tasty morsels, I'm telling y'all, of information.
Change your life.
Stuff, and like I said, this stuff I just kind of accumulated, and I wasn't even realizing like people need to know this.
Yes. So another big one is credit utilization. People don't talk about that, but like make sure your credit utilization, because they say 30%. It's 10%. You keep your credit utilization under 10%. Your credit will jump huge amount.
So if it's 30 is like maintenance, 10 is
don't
like
do it.
You trying to don't even do 30.
Don't do 30. 10%. And what I recommend, if you feel like that you don't have enough credit, like if to stay at 10%, that means like if I know I need about $2,000 worth of credit available to me at any time to be comfortable, then I know that I need $20,000 of available credit for me to have that stay below the 10%. So 10%, make that your goal always. Try to pay off every credit card at the end of the month. Don't use more than you can pay off in 2 months. But definitely like, gurus out here like Dave Ramsey and stuff. Like I like listening to the Dave Ramsey show. Like I'll listen to everything all financial outlets. I love any place where I could get some like tidbits from some, you know what I mean? Like you can learn something from anyone, but I don't like the whole, like, I live debt free. So I did take that from him, but I do not like the no credit thing. Like, don't do that to yourself, especially as Black women or just Black people in general. We need credit. Like I think of people like Sandra Bland. If she had had $500 available to her, she would have been able to pay her bill to leave and maybe would be alive right now. And if she had, you know what I mean, access to that money through her own credit or something, then it's possible that she might be with us right now. So it's very important that you keep credit, you have credit, keep a good credit score, maintain a good credit score, and have credit available to you so that you, in the event of an emergency, you can use it to benefit you and then pay it off. But it's just about being responsible with paying the bills on time and making sure. So anytime I get paid, I just pay it off. Like I pay the credit card off, and I use the credit card for little things, like gas or whatever. And then when I get paid, I just pay it off. So that way it's never accumulating interest. And I'm able to get all the perks of like having it, like discounts and things.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving like financial advice or anything like that. But these are tips that have worked for me, and I just want to, share. If maybe they could help somebody else, then everybody's situation is different. But
you can be changing someone's like life, their generation, their children's lives or whatever. With this, if it's just any one of these things that you said tonight can be the catalyst for change in somebody.
My boyfriend just came over right now with like a board that says like, I am not a financial advisor, he's legal. So he's like, oh, you better say this. Yeah. He's like, you better say this. Okay. We're not trying to get sued over here. So yes. Okay. Yes. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not able to give financial advice. Like, but if you want to use some of my tips that work for me, cool. Maybe they might help you. So this is your testimony. Yes. And it's very fast. If you do the utilization thing, you pay off your bills, you try to pay off the way to get, if you've got collections on your account, what I did was pay off the original, whoever had the original debt. So if you have collections on your account that are from like, I don't know, Fios or somebody like that. I don't know. Just, whatever, like for your internet. And it's got sent to collections. Do not pay the collection agency.
Don't pay the collections. You don't owe them anything. And don't pay anything on the phone to them. Don't admit to owing them anything either.
You go to Fios. Right. You go to Fios, or whoever it is that had the original debt that with you, and you pay them. And generally they will take the money and clear your debt. And then you can call the collection agency with the reference number of your payment, and the collection agency will remove the debt from your credit report.
Oh, I can give you one better. So what you can do is you can, without paying anything, you can send a letter to them stating like, hey,
dispute it.
I don't know you.
I don't know this debt.
Anything. You're going to have to show me. You have to prove that I owe you specifically this debt. And you have to send that to them. You have to send that to, who else was it? It's a lady named Sherry Beckley. She does on YouTube. She does everything. She gives you the ins and outs of everything you need
Right.
to do. Sherry Beckley.
Sherry Beckley. I'm
A
gonna look her
light
up.
lady with
I'm always here
freckles.
for tips, child. Yes,
Sherry, oh,
yes.
she's the
Sherry
truth.
Beckley. I'm gonna write
And I
that down.
love the way she breaks everything down. It reminds me when I was in the on the phones for I used to work for Vanguard, and I was having to explain to people about their 401ks and stuff, and the way that she explains things so thoroughly and you know everything reminded me of myself. So I love her channel. So Sherry Beckley, if you want to know
Sherry
about
Beckley.
how to get those inquiries and collections
Yes.
and everything off of your stuff, because that'll bump you up so much.
So fast. Your stuff will just shoot up. I think I was able to correct everything. Like, of course, granted, things like missed payments, they take about like 7 years to drop off your account, your report. So those do take longer. But if you just, you know, stay on course, like the time goes by so fast.
Much growth. You just go in, get your annual credit reports from the different entities.
Yes.
Go through
or sign up for a site like Credit Karma or
but you can still they'll
know.
send you, if you go in Credit Karma, you know, they'll send you, well, it's two of them that'll send you through Credit Karma, and then the other one you have to go to that app itself, but they will mail you your credit report.
TransUnion and I believe Equifax. Yes,
and then Experian, you gotta
Experian
go
is separate.
Request it from its own thing, but they'll send you your credit reports. You look on each one and see like, oh, this isn't me. I don't know who this is. I don't know what this is or whatever. And then you put together your letters and say, hey, this stuff is not mine. You need to take this off.
Right. You know, and that works a lot of the time. But you know, sometimes it doesn't work. And if you know it's your debt, I mean, just pay the debt. Just pay the debt.
I mean,
off.
yeah,
but you can.
It all. You know, I'm not saying scam, but you know,
right. you know, it's yours.
If you don't have the money, you can still, like I said, if you don't have the money and you know these things, you can bump yourself up enough to position yourself and give you motivation that as you're getting your finances in order, you're starting off from here instead of here.
Yes, very true, very true. And we can, and to segue, I think that like we talked about upgrading your life through like work, employment, but I think you can, another thing that's kind of underrated that people don't like talk about enough is downsizing your life to upgrade. So when it came to like COVID, and COVID was a big one for me. So during with COVID, my company furloughed me, and I was scared. Like it ended up closing. My company, well, when I was furloughed, I got scared because I was like, you know, I was in Minnesota at the time, and it was during all of like the protests, all the everything was happening with George Floyd. So it was just a lot of fear and uncertainty during that time period. So I decided to move out of my $1,500 apartment to downsize to a $900 apartment. And it was like a 1-bedroom. I ended up, you know, I set up camp in the living room. We moved everything in. I got rid of a lot of stuff, you know, I was just like, you know, in the event that something happens and I lose my job, or, you know, we're just maybe stuck here for a little bit, just depending on how the economy looks. Cause you know, with COVID, everything was shutting down. Retail was not looking, everything was just like in shambles. So, doing that actually set us up, and we were fine. Like we totally got through everything. Okay. I was on unemployment for a while cause my company ended up closing, due to COVID. And while I was job hunting, I was just getting unemployment, and I had more than enough because of moving into a smaller apartment. So, you know, people do push you to buy a home, but I think there is also, and it's smart. It is smart to buy. If you're in like where I live right now in California, it's way smarter to buy a house than to pay for $4,000 rent. Like that's insane. But if you are in a market where maybe, I'm just saying that it's not necessarily a terrible thing to be renting, because renting does give you flexibility. Like I was able to, easily pivot, move, jump companies, do all these things in my life because of how temporary my living situation was, if that makes sense. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like while I would say, buying is never like a bad thing. Well, it can be a bad thing, but it can be very positive, but there is also something to be said for staying light and nimble when you are looking to like change your life.
I love that you said that, because I'm right now in a phase of calibration, I call it.
Yes.
Everything is shifting. I had insight a couple months ago to make some pretty big changes, and then that led to me kind of being able to recognize certain things that I wanted that I wasn't allowing myself to want before, like marriage and things like that. And now, mind you, I feel like one of them memes when they say like what you think ascension or enlightenment is going to feel like, and then you see that picture of Whitney Houston with a wig askew and everything, like that's what it feels like.
Yes.
However,
yes,
the alignment is aligning. I see things happening, and not just in the area I first was going for, in everything. I see the money aligning. I see the opportunities aligning. Like I said, this became a thing. I went from just, hanging out at Phoenix's channel to now I'm doing weekly live. So everything just kind of is coming together. And so, yeah, definitely feel what you're saying. Sometimes you do have to like make those to step back in order to take off.
Right. Like if you don't have the capacity to go get a second job, or like you just don't have the time for these things, then maybe the answer is like getting rid of some stuff in your life. Like maybe you don't need all of these subscriptions that you have to things. Maybe you don't need, the new thing. Maybe you don't need that new car that you're leasing or whatever. Maybe you should just switch to a car that you pay cash for, and it's like a little beater that you just drive into the ground so you don't have a car note. And then you have super cheap insurance. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like there's just like so many different ways that you can change. You can change and make things better, like improve your life. One thing that I always made my business was to make sure that we lived in an area where my children could have a really good education. So, a lot of times we were living in really crappy apartments that were in very nice areas.
On the good side.
Right. And people were always like, you could have like a house in this part of town for how much you're paying. But to me, it was like, yeah, but if I live over here, my children, like, I remember we went, when we moved to Minnesota, we switched school districts by moving like into a nicer area. And the school gave them MacBooks, each their own MacBooks. The school had things like a pottery studio, like, there's a pottery studio in a freaking school. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just like things that I never, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, just like stuff where you're just like, they have a bank. They had like a student-run bank where they were like teaching the kids about like how to start businesses and in the community. Like, it's crazy. It was like the kids could come and get loans from the student bank, like stuff that I wouldn't even like, that are invaluable for your children to learn, and that they wouldn't get at maybe another school. So it's, it was worth it to me. I mean, my kids got scholarships to higher learning institutions. So, you know what I mean? Like it was worth it to me. My son is autistic. So and going to that school, they were actually following our IEP, like things like that, where it's like, you don't realize how bad a school is performing until you move to a school that is actually doing really great. So, before I was like, oh, really? They actually talk to you about the IEP and they make a plan and they stick with the plan? That's so insane. Like, I didn't know that that's actually how that works.
Yeah, man, because these public schools and IEP just basically means we're going to suspend your kid every other day.
Yes! that is why I ended up taking funny story. That is why I moved from Pennsylvania to Minnesota, was because
Well, you
they
really don't care about your baby.
they don't care. They
don't
put my
care
son
about
out
the
of school.
baby.
Yeah, they said he was hurting himself and he was a danger to himself. So they put him out of school, and I was like fighting the school district. Like I had to get like a legal count. Like it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. So I was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. I am just going to move somewhere. And we had a social worker that was like, you know, I heard Minnesota is really great for like, because I was like, where is it better?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll move.
Okay.
Where is it better?
I ask those types of questions too. Like when I look up and try to say like, oh, I want to move away, I'll go and say, what are the best schools? What are the most family friendly cities? You know, like things like that. What is the best place for single mother? You know, like questions like that.
Yeah. And then it's so funny, like when you say things align, like right after I learned that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start putting my resume out. One of my past bosses called me and was like, hey, I have a position in Minnesota. If you want to come up here, and like I'll give you the position, whatever you want, however much you want. And I was like, you know what? If the stars don't align, child, I don't know what I don't know what this is. If it's not that, I don't know what it is. Because it's amazing. And I really believe that when you're on the right path, like when you're on the path that God has set up for you, that you are not you have less problems, if that makes sense. Like if you're experiencing lots of like grief and problems, and it's like, maybe you're not on the right path right now. Like maybe you're not on the path, you're like wandering away from the path that was set out for you. And once you get back on that path
all the time, like people will be like, how are you doing? And I'm like, honestly, I'm blessed. I don't have any problems. I mean, I have things I want to change. I have things I'm working toward, but I don't have any problems.
Right. Like, if your biggest stress is like, oh, I need new sandals, you know what I mean? Like, then you don't have any problems. You don't have any problems. You're fine. You're fine.
You know what it is too? It's not that I feel like I have problems. I have challenges, and I have, things I want to improve on it. And that's not me, trying to trick myself into thinking that. I have set myself up in such a way that the things that aren't necessarily the way I want them to be are only things that I can control.
Right.
And then I'm willing to do the work, because back then when I'm stressing over this one's father, when I'm doing, like, I systematically eliminated all of those things that were draining on my energy, draining on my brain capacity, so that I'm a problem solver. I have to figure out what the problem is. And I have to really figure it out what it is to the point where it becomes actionable. And then I want to go from there.
Yes,
so I can't do that if I am chasing, Raheem. I can't do that if I am fighting and bickering with this one. I can't do it.
Yes, that is a good point. Like, when there are a couple like sayings that stick in my mind, and one of them is, you can't accept a gift if your hands are full. And like, so you got to let that go. You got to let all that trash go. Put it all down, child. You can't carry. Yes, you have to. Yes, you have to. Otherwise, you're just never, that one, that always sticks in my head. That one, and not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. That always sticks with me too, because that was
me. And that was in my early journey, like when you were talking about when you were in, the poverty life, and that even though everything is horrible, but that spirit of perfectionism, that burden of perfectionism, and because you're in such a horrible spot, you feel even worse, because you're like, I'm not perfect. I am trash. I have failed. I am a failure. Right. You just perpetuating constantly.
Yes. And sometimes you just need to tell yourself, like, this is good enough. Like, what I'm doing right now is fine. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect for it to be good. And sometimes, like, striving for perfection actually is like damaging to what your mission is. So, yeah.
Can you tell me, this has transitioned into a really cool subject. Can you talk to me about kindness to yourself?
Yes. this is so important also. Like, you have to really forgive yourself. And that takes time. It might take therapy. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, I mean, if you've got good friends, you know, you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself for the mistakes you might have made. You have to heal from any trauma you've experienced in relationships, either with like your exes or your parents. Sometimes your ex isn't the reason why you're a single parent. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it is you. Sometimes it's because of some unresolved trauma or whatever that you're dealing with. And you just have to, and I know when you're in it, you don't see it. Do you know what I mean? Like, crazy people don't know they're crazy. So you don't see it when you're in it, but if you just start working on yourself, you might start to see it. Do you know what I mean? Or if you've got people that are close to you that you trust, you can talk to them and just be like, hey, you know, tell me about myself. You know what I mean? Like, let me know. Like, do you see, are there things I could be doing differently or better? And yeah, forgiving yourself is like, you have to love you first before anybody else can really love you well, before you'll even allow anybody to love you well. So yeah, you have to really like, and if forgiving yourself requires you to change, like, people, you know, there are people who beat themselves up because they're overweight, you know, because they, you know, they might buy into whatever. If it means losing weight means that you'll be in a better place mentally, then just lose weight. Just do that. Just like, why are you, do you know what I mean? Like, what if you hate your, you know, I don't know, if you hate something about yourself, just change it. Like, who knows jobs you would, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like when people are just like, they go crazy. I know the Black community has a problem with things like that are perceived as self-hatred. And I think we need to just move away from that. Because I think
I was over here showing you the doctors I follow and everything. Like, I see nothing wrong with it.
No. Why not? I mean, if it makes you feel beautiful, and you know, it's and not.
We've seen it changes lives.
It really does. Lives. Girl, get that boob job. Just do it. Just make yourself happy.
What was it? The Swan. Do you remember The Swan?
Yes, that show was trash though, child. That was very crazy.
I used to love that type of stuff. The Swan. I used to watch
The Swan was crazy though. That one was crazy. I love Bridezillas. I do love that one.
Bridezillas, like that's that real back in the day reality.
What's I love what is it? Where the two people where they would give people makeovers, like ambush them and like, your family your office called us and told us you dressed terrible. So we're going to
not Jenny Mai, the lady with the streak in her hair. I'm seeing her face.
Yes.
I can't remember
what was that one called? I don't know. It was on TLC.
Y'all gotta know in the chat.
Yes, y'all have to know. It was on TLC.
Yeah.
Clinton Kelly was the name of the man. Clinton Kelly, because I met him. He's very nice.
And I'm seeing the lady's face because I follow her still on Instagram. But yeah, I used to love those shows.
Stacy or something like that. Is it? Something like that? I can't remember the name of the show though.
What Not to Wear. Yes. Yes. What Not to Wear.
Yes, that was a great show. Yeah.
And then when I was in my cosmetology phase, like when I was actively working as a cosmetologist, what was that called? The one with the lady Tabitha, this tall Australian lady with the ice blonde hair. And she was kind of like the guy, what's his name? The master chef. She was kind of like him, but she was an Australian lady. And she would go to the hair salon, Tabitha Salon Takeover. That's what it was.
Oh, I think I saw maybe a couple episodes of that. I think I saw a couple episodes.
I loved it. Because she was like the guy, the chef guy that goes in and is like cursing everybody out. It was like that. But it was hair salon. Yes.
What is that guy's name? The blonde one? I can't remember.
I don't know why I can't think of his name because I see him all the time. I know his name. But
Gordon Ramsay? Is it Gordon?
Gordon Ramsay.
Okay.
That's him.
I'm bad with names. I'm usually not good. I'm just like, I don't know.
I was having a brain fart because I'm like, I know these people. I know them well.
Right. It's like I watch them every week. I know them personally. So yeah.
Good TV. Well, so since we talked about the struggle.
The struggle.
Yes. So now, tell me, sis, what is the soft life like? Like how that be?
Yeah. I am never going back. I will fight.
That's what. Yeah, I remember you said that. That's when I got you because you was like, I have struggled and I am not going back.
I am not going back.
I was like, we gotta talk to her.
I am never going back. So let's see, I've been able to do some like very just like things that if I had told myself I could do previously in my past life, I would have been like, girl, you lying. But just so one thing that was amazing was I took my children to Paris for their Sweet 16.
Oh.
That was incredible. Like we did everything. We saw all the sites. The only thing we didn't get to see were the catacombs, but that's because they were closed unexpectedly for our thing. But it did not cost what everybody's like, Paris is awesome. I'm like, it was cheaper for us to get tickets to Paris than it was for me to fly to see my parents in Arizona.
Really? Because people don't know this. It's just like the credit thing. Because it's not in your realm, because you don't know anything about it, you just make these assumptions and just go, it's not for me.
Right. And so what I do, I tell people just like create a Pinterest. Go to Pinterest, create a board of like just stuff that you like. Just like create several boards. Do a board for travel. Do a board for like there's a site called Thrifty Traveler, I believe it's called.
Oh my God, here we go.
They're great site. They have tips. They do like, they'll send you notifications on like when there are like ticketing mistakes. So sometimes airlines will mistakenly like make a ticket too low, but they still have to honor the price. So if you can buy it in time, you can get
Thrifty Traveler. Okay.
Yes. And Airfare Watchdog is another one I love, where you can put in different cities that you want to go to, and they will
be sitting on my bed tonight rewatching this with a notebook.
Yes. So Airfare Watchdog, and you put in the cities you like, and they will tell you when the prices drop for flights. That they look at what the average cost of flights are, and then when prices drop, they email you and say, oh, that you were interested in going to Spain. I went to Spain with my friend. I took her, and that was amazing. And use that app. It's amazing. It's changed your life. So another thing I recommend is searching for flights on Google, but in incognito. Somebody told me once that if you search incognito, it doesn't put the cookies on your phone. So the price, if you don't search incognito, the cookies will prevent the price from ever being lower than it was the first time you checked. And I was like, that is crazy. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I've been using it and I've always gotten lower prices by just going in and searching that way. And you can search through like a range. Like if you hit the little date, because they'll tell you like the dates that you're interested in. If you actually hit the date like field, the whole calendar will pop up and it'll show you a range of prices for around that time period. So you can pick, like if you stay flexible, like when you want to go on a vacation, you can find the cheapest tickets when you want to go. We like when we went to Paris, my tickets were like, I think $450 round trip each. I think it was $450. It was either $450 or it was like $502, something like that. It was like around that price. And then the hotel, we stayed like a block from the Eiffel Tower, like just a couple blocks from the Eiffel Tower in a family hotel that had like bunk beds, and like I think it's considered a hostel, but you have private rooms. So there was like there was a queen size bed in there and a bunk bed, and like your own private shower, and then there's breakfast downstairs, like when and it was a very nice hotel. And I think I paid like, I want to say $700 or $800 for a week and a half of stay at that hotel. And then what you don't know, what people don't tell you, is that all the historical sites are free for people under 18 in Paris. So with the purchase of an adult ticket, anybody with you under 18 can go to the sites with you. So Eiffel Tower, kids are free. Arc de Triomphe, kids are free. Literally everything with the Louvre, kids are free. So we went to Versailles, we saw everything, literally everything. So it was like, Sacre Coeur, like it totally worth it. And Notre Dame before it burned down, got to see that. And again, kids are free. So and the best thing to do when you're setting this up is and what I did this also when I took my friend to Spain, is if you set up excursions. So there's a site, I like sites like Viator, it's through TripAdvisor, where you can book like excursions basically. So tours, you can book tours through them. Viator, you just put in the city that you're going to, and it pulls up all the potential tours that you could possibly take for the time period that you're there, and you can buy the tours. And a lot of time the tour, if you pick the right tour, they offer lunch or dinner during the tour. Yes. Okay. So not only does it pay for your a guided tour of a place, but it also feeds you. So then you don't have to eat. So you're not spending extra money for why wouldn't you do that? Do you know what I mean?
It's amazing.
Yeah. So
because you're speaking to all the things that have prevented me, and like I said when I spoke earlier about being in an environment where certain things are considered frivolous, certain things are considered a luxury, certain things are considered, irresponsible. You tend to think, travel, the flight, the hotel, the meals, and the things like that. So to have something where you can package a lot of that stuff for one price and then be like, it's not going to be, $15,000.
No, it's absolutely not $1,500. I don't even think we even spent $4,000, to be honest. I don't think we even spent $3,000. Like, I'm trying to think how I think we maybe spent maybe it might have been right at 3,000.
And that was for you and the two kids?
And me and my two children. Yes. Like it was and that was with
I wish we met when you were in Philly.
Girl. Well, we met now, so this is good.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm always here. I'm I will help with anything. I love planning trips and doing stuff like that. We wanted to see the whole world and do all these things. COVID kind of messes up because we had a whole trip planned to Asia, but it's been messing us up. But I went to a music festival. The trip that I took my friend to in Spain, we went to a music festival. Music festivals are ridiculously priced in the States. Okay, we went to the Mad Cool Music Festival in Madrid.
Okay,
$300 total. For 2 VIP tickets for 3 days.
Who was there?
Oh, child. I think when we were there, it was the main headliner was Green Day, and MIA was there. I like a lot of alternative music. I do too. I love Kings of Leon was there. I caught a guitar pick.
Oh my God, I would.
That was so nice. Away. Girl, Alt J. There was tons of big names, and we were gonna go in 2021 because there was Meg Thee Stallion was gonna be there, Cardi B was gonna be there, huge names. Ellie, what's her name? My daughter loves her. What's her name? It's
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. Yes, yes. She was gonna be there. But they ended up canceling it because of 2021, still COVID stuff, all the rules. So, but $300 for, it's not $300 per day. It was $300 total.
You and me going for that's the type of stuff I would absolutely, I think if I could cross this off my bucket list, I don't even know if there would be anything else on it. I want to go see Coldplay in Europe.
Do it. Yes.
I want to see Coldplay. I just want to see them. I love their music. They lift me
up. Do it. Yes. Yes.
And I'm like,
they
I
are
want to go to Europe and see them.
I'll go with you, girl. Just let me know time and place.
You gonna have to book the trip because I don't know about all that.
Yes, I can book it. Because what you do is public transportation or Uber, because they have that all there too. Public transportation, so simple to use overseas. Like, it's so much better than here. I don't know what we are doing, but it is so much better.
She works in production. She lives in Brooklyn, and she gave me this app called City Mapper, where you can find how to get wherever on whatever public transportation, wherever.
That's amazing. Yes. And it's not even like, even if you didn't have it, it's not hard to like figure out, you know, when we got like, you know, GPS and stuff, like it's very,
GPS. And I'm sure they have the little pamphlets and the kiosks and all of that.
And it's so simple to use there. Like our public transportation is trash. Anytime I go overseas, I'm like, why is our public transportation so terrible? We are failing at this. We are failing. But yeah, like, so public transportation, you know, make sure you're booking like things to do. So we flew into Barcelona. We stayed for 2 days there on La Rambla. Like, so like right in the middle of all the hustle and bustle, we took some food tours where they took us around and tried different dishes and told us about like the sights we were seeing. And then we took a train. So you could take a train, business class, a train from Barcelona to Madrid, business class, $36. And they give you lunch.
Shut up. Oh my God. I love long rides.
It was like being in like a recliner. Like, it was so nice. Like, it was like, you know, it was like first class type accommodation.
On Instagram those you know, those little traveling clips of like on the trains and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it was like so cheap. Like, what? $36? Like, what? So it was like the most expensive thing that we paid for on that trip was the actual ticket to get there. But otherwise, like, everything once you're there, so inexpensive. Like, it was crazy. Like, we stayed in beautiful hotels. It was like $400 for like, I think like 6 days. It was crazy. It was very crazy how like inexpensive the whole thing was for once you get there, you know what I mean? And then like, it's just like my friend that I brought with me, because it was supposed to be like a romantic thing, but that fell apart, child. You know how
he couldn't go.
He couldn't go. Some old stuff. But so she just jumped in and took his place, which is perfectly fine. But she was saying like, you know, I would never know that this is something I enjoy if I had never just taken this leap with you. Like, she's like, I've never wanted to leave the country. I've never even thought about being able to leave the country. And now that I've done this, it's like, I want to do this all the time. Like, I had no idea. It's like more people should know like what they're missing by not traveling. I'm just like, world. It blows your mind.
Yeah, so even just what you described, because, you know, I had my idea of what traveling would be like, but what you described, I was envisioning it and I could see myself in it. You know, I'm just like, it's just like when you start going around your city and you're like, I didn't know this was here. Oh, they built this side of the city up. Oh, they got new restaurants. You know,
it changed. It's like amazing. Like, the food is better. Everything seems like so much great. And what we also do. What I highly recommend doing is taking a cooking class when you go to any place you go to. Like, so when we went to Paris, we took a croissant making class, me and the kids, and they walked us through the whole thing. It was so fun, and like we walked away with like a huge basket of croissants, and then like different kinds of croissants. And then when we were in Spain, we did the, you know, like paella and sangria. I still can make sangria to this day because of that trip. Like, my sangria is like
amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was
just really amazing. Like incredible. Yeah. So there's so many like places that are like, I've gone to like, you know, islands that are beautiful. Like, it's totally worth your time to to travel if you can, and it's you can, like, there's no reason, you just save up to go, like, you have this extra bank account now that has an extra $200 in it.
We're stacking, we're leveling up,
right?
Okay,
we're
taking all the information, we're putting it together, we're putting it to use. So you got your bank account, your traveling
your
bank
extra
account,
bank account that you opened with the free cash.
Your bills up with your income tax money. That's sitting in there. You don't have to worry about that. You're not going to come home to the lights out or anything like that.
That part.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
So, it's very doable. It's totally, my kids, I've been taking my kids on vacations every year since, even if it's like, you know, we go to like, we go to like Florida or, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be super duper extravagant, but, you know, you have to take time to like make memories with your family. And I think traveling is so important for children, just so that they can be exposed to different things, different people, and you know what I mean? Like, so,
and be normalized.
So like
you're a citizen of the world, not just, you know, you're a city or anything like that.
Yes. So get that passport. Passport's like $180, I think, right now.
I've only been to Punta Cana. So I have to get my passport renewed, and I have to get the girls their passports. But wait a minute. No, Hawaii's. And I was about to say, because now my oldest daughter's father, his family were always travelers. And that was one of the reasons I was just like, well, you know, take the baby. They would take her for summers and stuff like, because I wanted her to be able to, you know, if I couldn't go, I didn't want to keep her from being able to go. So she's traveled some. But they go to like do the resort thing and stuff. I want to go and, you know, I want to go
be with locals. You want to like have more authentic experience. I remember we went to
Punta Cana and I was so excited because I'm like, I want to ride horses. And I went there and they were like, we don't suggest you go off the compound.
Wow.
They were just like, no, just sit here. Here's some liquor. Here's some food. Right. I wouldn't suggest.
Well, I mean, if they're not recommending it, I wouldn't recommend it either. I would probably listen. Like, if you haven't researched it,
because you know, I love a horse. I love a horse.
But you can do it somewhere else. Yeah, you're gonna do it. You're gonna get that chance to ride your horse even through the water. Like, if you go to like I think Turks and Caicos does it, where you can do the and the Dominican. I know the Dominican Republic does it, where you can ride horses in the water on the beach. So
okay. Yes, the visuals.
Yes. Very tropical, very beautiful.
Annika, I cannot express how excited I am just by all this has invigorated me in such a way. I'm so grateful to you. I'm so grateful to have met you because you are the embodiment of what Level Up Single Mom is about.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I probably will be calling upon you to come back for something. I can't think of anything right now. You gave me such a wealth of knowledge, but you know,
I have some businesses like in the irons in the fire right now. So I have an invention
before we
coming
out and everything. I want you to tell me everything that you're doing. Let us know where to find you. Let us know, you know, just keep dropping these pearls and blessing us.
Well, I'm going to have an invention coming out pretty soon, but so I can't really talk about it just until it's like, you know, everything.
Okay.
But hopefully that's going to work out. So when I get all that situated, I'll definitely like hit you up and be like, hey girl.
Absolutely. Because that is the difference. My vision for Birth Your Bag, like I said, was I started with what I knew well, which was how, you know, if you're in the poverty stage, these are the things that you can do to open your palette for abundance, right? Yes. And as I go up, my plan is to, you know, compile. Like I said, I'm someone who likes to dissect and figure out, okay, what are the things and what are the markers and how can I help people to lock into trying to transition. So you're talking about big things. You're talking about patents and, you know, things like that. That's a few steps up. So we will be, you know, convening at some point for me to pick your brain and everything about that, because that's another rung in the ladder.
That's a
So
whole other, yes, it's a whole, so I'm
yeah.
wading through this right now. So I'm just like, I'll be able to share like information. Ooh, I just thought of, if anybody is interested in getting into like beauty, I just watched a video from Supacent. Her channel is, I think it's
I
Wazam
saw her
Stupa.
wasn't super. Yeah, I saw
Yes.
she was talking about that. Wasn't that like a week ago or something?
Yes, where she's talking about like
Mhm.
how to use
The
like
vendors and stuff,
Alibaba
Alibaba.
and to like,
Girl, I
y'all
used to.
run over
That's
there and
the
watch
funny
that
part
video.
about it because I used to. Me and my friend that was on a couple weeks ago when we met working in like a popping. Were you here during the Weave Bar stage of Philly?
During the what?
The Weave Bar. It was this place that did the $50 weaves and stuff.
Oh no, I was not there. No, I
Okay.
missed that.
So we met working at that salon, and like that salon had started popping and everything, and then me and her like connected over thinking like, okay, we actually do hair, we can do different things and stuff like that. So we used to look into those vendors and stuff like that. But like I said, because of all the other things that were going on and just trying to stay afloat and trying to whatever, and social media was kind of new. You know, we're talking like 2010 through 2012,
It's a whole different game now. Yeah.
It's a whole different game, but it was like, we just sit back and like, if we knew what we know now, girl, it would have been completely different. But absolutely,
Yes.
I thank you so much for coming on. I am so excited for just being able to connect with you and plug you into this mission that I see you be on.
I love your mission. You are doing God's work, child. You're really helping people out here and changing lives. So don't ever feel discouraged if somebody, you know what I mean? Like, just know that you are really making a difference. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much to me, because for so long I just felt like I was screaming into the void, like that, because it's one of those things. These subjects are so embarrassing.
It's
like
true.
when it's so embarrassing, and you think only I could be this stupid to have wound up here. Only I. But then, like I said, when you start tapping in and looking around and realizing, I hear her talking about the same stuff I'm going through. I see her going through the same stuff I'm going through. Like, what is it? And then start questioning and things like that. Like, so we need to be able to see these things so we can see them for ourselves.
Yes. 1000% yes. Get it out in the open and let's talk about it.
So I release you back into your soft life.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna go do something soft and feminine right now.
Yes, absolutely. Divine feminine.
Yes.
I will be in contact with you, and you have a good night.
It was really great being here. Thank you so much, and bye everybody. See you later.
So I don't even know what to say. I was expecting, I knew I was going to enjoy it. I knew it was going to be informational. It was more than what I could have hoped for. Like that comment that she had left on my other live, it was just like, this is exactly what Birth Your Bag is about. And so I just knew I had to get her on. I'm so glad you guys tuned in. I appreciate you all for watching and staying to the end. Tiff, I'm going to look into, because I had it privated, because I was kind of like doing a thing where I was charging a little bit, like I think I was charging like $15 for it or whatever. But I don't mind I can't set up monetization or anything on here, because the sister is trying to. I'm not ashamed of it. I got kids to feed, I got stuff to do. So, but I try to be reasonable, because like I said, my target audience are those who may not feel like they have disposable income and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to, get rich off of people. But anyways, Thank you so much for joining us here for another Woman Chat Wednesday. It's another one down in the books. A really, really great one. Like I enjoyed it so much, and I probably could have went on and on and on and on, but my body's saying no. We need to rest. So I will see you guys next week. Same place, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at Level Up Single Mom. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I love you all. Bye.